I love that quote at the very end.
Right.
Lover, when you're near me, I can
Exactly.
hear you. It's Monday. Welcome.
Welcome
It's
to Jazz and Conversation.
to your weekly jazz infusion. Your weekly jazz fix. We're so happy you're joining us, and we have such a fun guest tonight. Somebody that I am happy to get to know a lot better. He's a legendary drummer for the likes of, I don't know, Dizzy Gillespie.
Eliani and Elias. He's played with Charlie Haden. He's with Gonzalo Rubalcaba. I mean, he's
Yvonne Lins, who's
done-
one of my favorites, of course, and
he's done everything.
Chick Corea was
Yes,
on his
Chick
bio,
Corea.
and
Yeah.
there's 2 guests in a row that have played with Chick Corea, so that's kind of cool. I gotta say. Yes, okay, it's surprise. It's Ignacio Berroa, and legendary jazz drummer and great guy. You've known him for a long time, haven't you?
I start counting the years, and it's crazy when I think about it. I've known Ignacio about 30 years now, something like that, which is,
A long time.
it doesn't seem that long, but
You're only like 32, right?
I know, how's that possible?
No.
I just don't get the math. But we thought we'd maybe start with a little clip of Ignacio playing with the Army Band, Woody and You.
All right. good, so good, so good. So please welcome to Jazz and Conversation, Ignacio Berroa.
Hey.
How you doing, guys?
Great to see you. Great to hear you.
Likewise. You're looking great. Wendy, Nikki. Wow.
Oh, thank you. You know just what to say to her.
Okay, well, that's our show for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Ignacio, my God, I've known you 30 years. How's that possible?
Yes, man. Wow. Time flies, Nikki. Time flies. 30 years ago. Well, it has been 40 years since I arrived to the United States. 40 years. So, wow. You know.
And did you go directly to New York?
Actually, not.
You see, that's what it says on your bio, Ignacio. We're here to ferret out the truth.
Well, that is a great question because a lot of people in the U.S. and around the world, they think that Dizzy Gillespie was waiting for me at Key West with a contract and a limousine.
That's not how it happened?
And that was not the case. I'm a Marielito. I'm one of those guys who came in 1980 during the Mariel boat lift and landed in Key West on May 25th, 1980. And from there, they took me to a military base in Key West. And the following day, they flew us to a camp in Indian Town Gap in Pennsylvania. Because by that time, people who were coming by themselves, men, they were sending them to those camps for the FBI to do the background check and to check if you were a spy or not, so forth and so on. So anyway, I went to Indian Town Gap for 36 days until my family finally got me out. I went through the process and I got out and then went to New York. That was where my family used to live. So I was lucky in that regard. So the first time I came to Miami, actually, I came to play, I think, at the first Calle Ocho Carnival. I came with a band, Latin band from New Jersey, and that was my first trip to Miami. But I was based in New York. Luckily for me, I learned to speak this horrible English that I'm trying to use now.
Sounds good to me.
Because that's another thing. When I came to the U.S., my knowledge of English was zero. I didn't know the meaning of yes. I'm being serious. So being in New York was a tremendous help, on learning the language and then landing the gig with Dizzy Gillespie, where we were a quartet the four of us, nobody spoke Spanish and I didn't know English. So that was a big challenge, unfortunately.
But music is the international language, so luckily.
Actually, the first time I played with Dizzy, I didn't know a word of English. And I remember my translator, who was the late Jerry Gonzalez.
Oh, sure.
He served me as translator, and I remember that Dizzy told him, and I was in front of him, Dizzy told him, you tell Ignacio that first of all, tell Ignacio that Chano never spoke English. I never spoke Spanish, but we both spoke music.
Right,
so you tell Ignacio that when I do this, it's 4/4. When I go like this, it's 6/8. When I go like this, he has to stop. And when I point at him, that means drum solo. Let's go.
That's all you needed.
That was the rehearsal, and we went on the stage, and since I knew his material, so forth and so on, so the gig came out great. But that's the real story. So I didn't know English. I went to New York, and I was lucky in that regard. It was hard being away from your family, being away from the song, from the Spanish-speaking people. Even though I had a lot of great Puerto Rican friends in New York that make me feel like I was part of the family.
Sure.
But it was hard. Going through those brutal winters that New York can offer you.
Yeah, nothing prepared you for that.
Yeah, but and then I moved down to Miami, and I had the pleasure. Actually, I asked someone, I asked a friend of mine that used to play drums, hey man, who are the guys in Miami? And he said to me, the people that you want to call are two brothers, Mike Horta and Nicky Horta. Those are the guys that you want to call. They're gonna fit the bill, and that's how I met Nicky and Mike, and I'm very honored playing with them because Mike and Nicky are two of the great musicians I have had the pleasure of playing with.
Oh,
Amazing musicians, and yeah, man, I'm very, very honored and proud, and hopefully we'll do some more. Unfortunately, Mike went ahead. Now he's jamming out there with Corea, Dizzy, and all those guys.
Right.
So in the meantime, I hope we do some more music once we get out of this craziness.
I hear you. Oh my God.
So when was your last gig, Ignacio?
My last gig was, let me see, I was doing artist in residence at Bellevue University in Seattle. So I went to Seattle. That was on end of January, and I think my last gig was on February 3rd or the 4th.
Wow.
That was my last gig. Actually, I played, I don't know if 2 or 3 months ago, I played one night at Le Chat Noir, that the owners, Alexis Ignacio, opened one night, and I went to play, to do a benefit for the club,
for them,
the jazz community. I think that's the last time I played. But last paying gig, February.
Oh my God!
The last check that came into my account for playing a gig was in February.
Yeah, we joke.
The other check comes from the stock market and things like that.
we joke about it, but it really is. It's incredible, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big of an artist you are, or or a guy doing the little gigs and one nighters in clubs, but. Nobody has worked, and we don't see a foreseeable time that we can work. So this kind of thing is really how we're trying to keep the music going.
Yes. Yes, it has been hard on everyone. So I really hope.
If you put this up, I'm gonna say just really quickly that tonight we have a thing called the tip jar, and we always give all the money that we get in the tip jar to our guest artists. So we would hope that you would help support our wonderful guest musician, especially Ignacio. The first $100 will be matched, so he'll get a nice little bonus at the end of the night. So all you have to do is text the word tip jar to the number 44321. Text the word tip jar to 44321, and they send you a link that you use. It's very safe, and you can do it through PayPal, you can do it through a credit card, whatever, but anything you can do helps because, like he said, he's worked with everybody in the business. Even those guys in the business have not had a gig since,
I mean, that's just the story of this show. We've had so many guests. I think this is going on our 3rd month, or we passed our 3rd month.
I think so.
And it's the same story. We're talking to people in Europe. We're talking to all the guys in New York. We've had so many great guests, and it's the same. They're just some of them might have been doing a little bit of teaching online here and there. Some of them might do some sessions, gig-wise, live performance. There's nothing.
People are doing some stuff online safe, and like that, little concerts and stuff online. But it's hard. It's definitely hard.
Here we are doing our things.
That's right.
Our thing for
our
the
jazz
community. So we have so much. No, go ahead. Tell me.
No, I was saying that actually speaking about teaching online. I'm getting ready. I'm preparing my studio to begin to do that probably around next month. To start doing some teaching online. Because I don't know. I think we're not gonna see a gig maybe until end of 21 or probably beginning of mid 2022.
Oh my gosh! I hope not. I hope it's not that long.
I know. But I was thinking middle of next year. But still, that's. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Well, because I think it's going to take a while for people to get confident and start going to theaters and clubs.
Well, that's the thing. The theaters and clubs is going to be rough. I think if we could figure out a way to start maybe doing some concerts outside, where we can social distance, and the that might be how we have to do it. So maybe that's something that I've been thinking about. It's been churning in my mind a little bit how we can maybe start doing something.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing, even when we have people come on the show and play live for us, this filter, it's not the same as getting, in person in the same room, hearing the music coming out of their
energy.
Instruments. It's so different. Nothing can compare to that. So I cannot
Exactly.
wait to be doing that again.
Well, hopefully we'll be doing that soon.
Yes.
Well, we want to talk with you about your career and how you got into everything from the minute you got into music. Before that, I thought let's play a real clip because was it last week? Was Martin our guest last week?
Yes.
So last week we had Martin, your bandmate Martin Bejarano on, and we were going to play a clip of your trio since we knew you were going to be on this week. And it turns out, he was playing some live piano, and he ended up playing Origin, which was the clip we had. So it's like, you know what? Guess
We'll
what,
save
Martin?
it.
Thank you. We're not going to listen to that. So let's, even though we're doing things more or less in chronological order, I thought we could play that, get that out of the way, and then let's start about, talking about your history.
Okay.
All right. So this is the Ignacio Berroa trio doing Origin.
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
Nice.
That's good.
Very nice.
Very good.
Thank you. You know that was a jam because actually we had finished the concert and that was the encore. And backstage, I asked Martin, "What we're gonna play now?" And so
Sometimes you get your best stuff
yeah,
unexpectedly. That was great.
yeah.
Or
Thank
sometimes just the thing of in a weird way that's playing for yourself. Like you had everything else prepared and that was just for fun.
Yeah.
So it has a different feeling sometimes. Hey,
does.
so I have a question for you.
Yes.
Did it hurt your mother when you came out of the womb with like a pair of sticks?
Oh. Actually, I was supposed to be a violinist.
What?
My father plays the violin, and my mother wanted me to be like my dad. So not too many people know that when I started studying music, I went to the National School of Arts in Havana, and I went to study the violin.
Wow.
Because my mother, she wanted me to be like my dad. Unfortunately, my mother passed away when I was 10 years old.
Oh,
And
wow.
at 11, I went to the National School of Art to study violin, thinking that I didn't want it to betray my mother's memory and her desire of me being a violinist. And I thought that my father also would feel betrayed. So to make long story short, I spent a year fooling around with the violin that I never practices or nothing like that. I immediately, as soon as
You just carried it around.
so I just was hanging out with the percussionists, and actually my father was a violinist for the National Radio and TV Orchestra in Havana, and I used to go to the studio with him every day, and as soon as I walked him into the studio, I never went to the string section. I always used to go back to the rhythm section. So anyway, after a year fooling around, trying to play the violin, my friends at the school told my father that I wanted to switch to percussion. My father said I have no problem with that. So that's how I began to study classical percussion, because that's another thing that a lot of people think, that in Cuba you go to a high school where you have a big band or combos,
right,
and play even Cuban music. No, that is not, it didn't exist during my time, and I don't know if they have that nowadays in Cuba.
Right.
But the training was it was a classical training formation.
Right.
Snare drums on a practice pad made in Cuba. Mallets, timpani, that was the training. Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, Liszt. Nothing about Gillespie, Miles Davis, or the greatest rumberos from Cuba.
Right.
No, it was strictly classical. So I learned to play the drums by myself. I'm a self-taught drummer. I had a great teacher who taught me how to hold the six and gave me a few rudiments and taught me how to read a snare drums book.
Okay.
But nothing like sitting on a track set. No.
So we have some pictures here that you can tell us what's going on here.
So how old are you in this picture?
Well, I think in that picture I'm 10 going to 11 probably.
Wow.
So that trumpet player, actually he never played the trumpet. he became a pianist and one of the great arrangers and musicians from Cuba during the 60s, late 60s to 70s. Ricardo Eddie Martinez, a lot of people know him as Edito.
Yeah. Well, I've worked with him so much. Never saw him with a trumpet.
He picked his father's trumpet, and I had that snare drum. So actually, I think that is my first photo as a drummer.
Wow. That's amazing.
That is
many years ago. That probably was 1964, 60. End of 63, I think it's 64.
It's 64. Yeah, that's what you have listed. Yeah.
And so when did you fall in love with jazz? Like, what made you want to be a jazz drummer?
Well, my father, Edito's father, was my dad. They were best friends, my dad and Edito's father. So one day my father came home and brought, Edito's dad gave him 2 albums. One by Nat King Cole Trio, and the second one was the Glenn Miller Orchestra. The first one my dad put on was the Nat King Cole Trio. And when I heard that, something possessed me. I was beaten by the jazz bug.
Right.
When I heard Nat King Cole, I knew immediately that was the music that I wanted to play for the rest of my life. So I fell in love with jazz. Then he played the second album, and when I heard, I think it was Gene Krupa with the Glenn Miller Orchestra. Of course. I heard that, and that made me definitely to bury
that sealed the deal.
Violin. Right. I said, no, I'm never going to play Mendelssohn violin concerto, Tchaikovsky, Beethoven.
Wow.
No, I'm going to play drums. So those were the 2 albums that changed my life and make me focus on jazz.
And did you find like-minded people in your, in the school or whatever to play little bands with, or?
Well, yes, in the conservatory, actually at the National School of Arts, I wasn't able to play because playing jazz was not very well seen back then. Right. Because the Cuban government used to associate that music with the policy of the United States.
Sure.
So playing jazz was like
Sort of
I
taboo?
don't know, like playing the music of the enemy, that
Sure.
type
Got
of,
it.
Yeah.
stupid thing. So we didn't have too many chances of playing jazz. So
Right.
I started doing so when I went from the National School of Arts to the National Conservatory in 1958. A group of friends there started playing blues, playing like
Yeah.
moaning, papa doo 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 doo
Sure.
yeah. So we used to play that, and I think at some point we got even to play walking, without the intro, right to the head. So I played jazz a little bit. Then later on, there were some more opportunities. There used to be a club in Havana called the Rio Club at the Johnny Drinks, where we gathered Mondays, some Mondays, because there were Mondays that we used to go, and the guy from the administrator would say, no, I gotta order that no more jazz for the next 3 or 4 nights. So anyway, and I went to a band that used to make the music for the film industry in Cuba, Grupo del Icai, where we had the chance to play more international music, more open music. We were able to listen to a lot of albums because the band director, great guitarist from Cuba, Leo Brower, he used to bring albums from abroad. So we were
Nice.
exposed to Chick Corea, Return to Forever, Mahavishnu,
Wow.
and a lot of great music albums from the United States.
That's just so
So
cool.
So this picture is 1972.
that picture, wow, ugly guy. That picture is
I was gonna say super
at
handsome.
that club, the Johnny Drinks, that later was called the Rio Club. That was at a jam session on Monday, playing at the Johnny Drinks.
Wow.
Wow.
Or Johnny Drinks, I think.
Okay.
Drinks, yeah.
And just a couple years later, you were starting to get your real manly thing going with
yeah.
the mustache, because nothing really makes
man.
a man
Yeah.
like a mustache.
Exactly.
Well, that is a concept. There used to be a pianist in Cuba, Felipe Dulzaides, who had this band. A lot of great musicians from Cuba went through that band. It was a band type of George Shearing. He was a fan of George Shearing, and he had that sound vibe guitar. So
Yeah.
one day in Havana, they made like a tribute concert for him. A lot of the musicians that play with him went to that concert, to pay him tribute. So that was in Havana. I was already in that band that I told you, the band that used to make the music for the film industry
Yeah.
in Cuba. Yeah. So
Wow.
that was a tribute concert to Felipe Dulzaides.
That's amazing. So once you figured out that you were going to be a drummer, and you started doing your jam sessions, when was your first pro gig? When did you sort of decide? Or did you have a band? Did you work with someone else there? When did you do your
No,
thing?
actually, before being at that conservatory, I joined a band that we used to play pop music.
Okay.
Pop music. We used to play like every weekend. That band was great for me because we used to rehearse sometimes every day, and that allowed me to play the drums. But it was just playing pop music. Then I went to the army in 1970, and once I got out of the army, I became a professional. I went to a province east of Havana called Matanzas, and I joined the Matanzas, the orchestra of modern music of Matanzas. It was great band, great arrangements, and then from there I went to Varadero to play with this guy Felipe Dulzaides.
Yep.
So that was when I began my professional career, 1972.
Wow.
1972. So stayed in that band for 3 years, and then moved to Havana and played with this band that I was telling you, the Grupo de Experimentación Sonora. They used to call them the I don't know, whatever, the Icai group or whatever. And then 1975, I became the first call for the only two studios that we had in Havana. Studios at Graham and the studios of Ikai, that when they used to make the music for the films and documentaries, so forth and so on. So, and that wasn't until 1980. So my professional career in Cuba was very short.
And when you say pop music, what does that mean? It's not that you're not talking about like pop music, like the U.S. pop music, or oh, okay,
It was, so it was
okay.
imports. Yeah. Did you like doing different styles? Did you always take to that?
Man, the Beatles were my idol. Oh yes. No, I love playing pop music.
Yeah,
I love it. You know, that's something that I would love to do. But you know, the stereotype. My name is Ignacio Berroa. So
you know, and
exactly.
I wanted to ask you about that because I know you said you fell in love with jazz and the whole swing thing and the like. But of course, partly because your name is Ignacio Berroa and you're from Cuba, you were always associated with Latin jazz.
Of course.
Right. But do you feel like, you know, do you hate to have the label of that or does it?
Yes, I do. I do because here in the United States, you know, everything has to be labeled.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's something now that we have been talking, and I have been fortunate because Dizzy Gillespie gave me a big break, and I play with other great jazz musicians.
Yeah.
But I have felt that thing that I'm Ignacio Berroa, I'm Cuban, and I have to play congas, timbales, and maracas.
And Latin jazz.
That's the stereotype.
Yeah.
And then Latin jazz. Every time I used to go to a place, if I was playing a concert in San Francisco, Wisconsin, anywhere, and I used to go to a jazz club for a jazz session. As soon as I sat on the drums, the first thing that the pianist would do, it was like, and I said, no, man, no. Let's play.
1, 2, 3,
Exactly.
4.
Let's play a blues. No.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think the only Latino jazz player that haven't got that problem is Eddie Gomez. You know, because he started his career with Bill Evans.
Right.
But for me, that I always wanted to play straight ahead jazz or pop music. I would love to play behind James Taylor or Sting.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is the stereotype.
Yeah.
No. This guy, Latin music.
Yeah.
Because his name is Ignacio Berroa. That's the way a lot of people see that. You know, it's like, in a sense, maybe the comparison is a little bit harsh, but it's like seeing a black guy walking around Coral Gables.
There you go.
Like, hey, what he's doing here? So Ignacio Berroa, no, he has to play.
He's not straight ahead. He's not a straight ahead guy. He's a legend.
Don't call him to play other thing. Yeah, and I have struggled with that, even though once again I had the chance to play with other people.
I'm going to make you a deal. I know I'm not the big potatoes like you're used to. But when this thing ends, I'm going to call you for a gig. And we are not going to do one Latin groove the whole night, okay? Blues and swing.
Sign me in. And I, you know, and some people take it like, oh, but you don't like your music? Yes, I love. I'm a proud Cuban.
Yeah.
I'm a proud Cuban, and I love my music.
Yeah.
But my passion is playing straight ahead jazz.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
And you're more than just that, sure.
I don't.
I mean, music is bigger than anything particular.
Exactly.
And the people that can, listen, some people are specialists and they never move out of that thing, but there are other people that embrace all sorts of things, yet they're pigeonholed into the like you were saying, the stereotype.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that the reason why I can play different styles is, first of all, because I have always been interested on learning other styles.
And you like it. It speaks to you.
I love it. And when I was in Cuba, during my days, I used to do a lot of gigs with the National Radio and TV Orchestra. And you had to play, or if you used to play at a cabaret, you have to play, it's like doing a Vegas show.
Right,
but
right.
in Havana, where you have to back up Paul Anka, and then also you have to back up Celia Cruz.
Right,
Or
right.
Tito Puente.
There you go.
Or you have to back up Ivan Lins, because Ivan Lins is going to do a week here at Tropicana. So you have to play different styles. So when I
Right.
used to go to the recordings of the National Radio and TV Orchestra, you walked in the morning into the studio. You used to go I used to go to my booth. There used to be a music carpet there, and when you open, and there were like 10 tunes, different styles.
Right.
So you have to play it.
Hey, I'm curious now. You said you were self-taught and you had just taken some rudimentary lessons with this teacher. When did you get the whole reading thing down? Did you do that on your own, or did you actually find some other teacher?
Actually, but I started getting my reading down when I was in the army.
Okay.
When I went to the army, I was on the marching band,
Okay.
and there we used to rehearse every day, and that's when I began to put my reading chops together. Then I left that out because I played for 3 years in Varadero with that band that used to play George Keating, Star, and we used to play also tunes from Elis Regina, tunes from Blood, Sweat and Tears, tunes from Los Sobrinos del Juez.
Right.
But
That's awesome.
my reading, I think I got my reading thing together from 1975 through 1980, that I used to be every single day, almost every single day, recording at the Egren Studios.
There you go.
It was something that and then in the evening I used to do a cabaret show where sometimes you have to sight read things.
Yeah.
So I got my reading. Back then I was a good reader.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, be
Just
quiet.
you know what? Just blame your eyesight. That's it.
Exactly. And now
that is an ability that you started doing it,
Of course.
and then if you start doing it, even another thing, when I was in New York, I used to go to big band rehearsals
Wow.
to keep my reading chops. I used to live way up in the Bronx, and I remember driving down to Manhattan during a not heavy snowstorm, but it was snowing, and I used to drive down to Manhattan to rehearse with the big band just to keep my reading,
Yeah.
my eyes
Yeah.
open.
Wow.
So we go to 1982, and here are some more pictures we're going to go through, and you can
Wow.
enlighten us.
Wow, that was probably 1982. I remember that was at the Blue Note. Blue Note. I was playing there a week with Dizzy Gillespie's quartet, and of course Blakey went to see the band. And I remember vividly walking off the bandstand, and Blakey said to me, "We gotta talk." And I said, "Oh my God." And then when we went upstairs, he told me, "You playing too tense. You have to relax." Blah, blah, blah. He gave me quite a few great advices.
Wow.
Yeah, that
You
was
know-
at the dressing room of the Blue Note was open.
Right.
It was one of the
You know what's interesting about you saying that is that when we were watching that first clip of you with the Army Band, when you were soloing, I was looking at how relaxed your arms looked. You know, it just seemed like you were like cooking or something. Like, oh yeah, chop 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 chop. You know,
Yeah.
it would seem so relaxed and easy.
That is good and it is bad.
No.
And that's something that I do. It's second nature to me. No, I'm going to tell you from the business point of view, it's bad because the audience, people, wants to see the drummer doing this.
Sweat. Like Animal
So
from the Muppets.
When you do this, people say, "Oh man, he's killing." So
Right.
on the contrary, when you do this, people say, "Well, you make it look so easy."
So easy. But you know what? But the funny thing is, really, the reality is all the good musicians, the best musicians are relaxed because it's like an extension of their inner whatever, you
Yep.
know, it's Zen almost. It's a beautiful thing to see somebody so relaxed and relaxed but powerful. You know, it's like powerful, it's intense, but it just looks
Effortless, I
I
know.
think it's beautiful.
There's something to be said about that. So
Thank you.
clearly the beginning of a tour here.
I will never forget that. because Dizzy did something there.
Oh,
We
should we not talk about it?
No, we cannot talk about that now here online. That was a flight to Seattle. We were flying to Seattle. I don't know if we were flying from New York or from another place, but I do remember that we were flying to Seattle to do a week in Seattle.
He seemed like a real trip.
Yeah, that
so
face.
Here's a little super small clip of a concert that I found of you trading. Enjoy this, folks. Traveling days, and
Wow.
and the thing that I'm thinking about, it's fun how the trip starts off, with all the energy, and this is pretty much the way it ends up. Oh yeah, that's such a funny picture.
That's a great photo, yeah. Well, I tell you what, that photo was taken on the first tour, European tour I did with Dizzy.
Wow.
And it was a 6 weeks tour all over Europe. And as you can see, we traveling a van. It was intense.
It looks like some well-deserved rest over there, and yeah, that's too funny. So I have more pictures. 1982, you obviously ran into Tony.
Oh yeah,
Tony Williams.
that was a concert we played at the Hollywood Bowl. That was the first time. That second time, because the first time I saw Tony, I saw him in Havana when they did the Havana Jam in 1979, and that was probably 81 or 82 at the Hollywood Bowl, of a type of festival where Tony played with his band. That was the first time I got the chance to see him and probably tell him by then, "Hi Tony, how you doing?" That was it.
Is that it?
Yeah, my English probably was, I was able
You had a
to-
couple of words then.
Yeah, man. Great. Tony Williams, great inspiration, one of the greatest drummers of all time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and here's another picture. This is moving ahead a couple years, but you seems like you met all the people that you really
Yeah.
that were inspirations. I'm guessing.
Wow, that Buddy Rich. You know why I always think that's a photo that a lot of drummers would love to have.
Yeah.
We play. That was at the Jacksonville Jazz Festival, I think, probably 1983.
Oh wow.
That he played with his big band, and of course I was there with Dizzy, and it was great because when I walked off the stage, he gave me a compliment, and I told him that I told him BS, and then he was cursing me out.
We've heard him
was-
curse before. On
Right.
the,
He was very nice to me every time. I think I saw him like 2 or 3 times, and he was very nice to me.
Now,
Right.
of course,
Yeah.
everybody knows the famous
Bus tapes.
bus tapes.
The famous tapes,
But
yeah.
you know, so he has another image as well. But I always tell you, you have to tell the audience the Dizzy story.
Oh, this story, this story is great.
you want to take it off?
One day, I think I don't remember if it was at Berkeley, it was somewhere. They gave an award to Buddy Rich, and they asked him who he wanted to present, who of his friends, the people, the jazz icons that were alive, who he wanted to present the award to him, and he suggested Dizzy. He said, I want Dizzy Gillespie to be the award. So anyway, Dizzy goes there, and Buddy Rich goes to the stage, and he said, I'm very honored to receive this award from this association, blah, 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 and I'm very happy that one of my friends, Dizzy Gillespie, is the one who's going to present the award to me. And everybody applauds, blah, blah, blah. So Dizzy comes to the stage, grab the mic, and say, well, I'm very happy to be here. He said, it's an honor for me to present this award to Buddy Rich, but I think Mr. Rich made a mistake on his speech. And everybody was like, why? What happened? He said, Mr. Rich just said that I'm one of his friends, and I want you to know that I am his onlyest friend.
Wow.
Buddy went to the floor laughing. That was great. One of those things that just Dizzy Gillespie
Yeah.
were
Oh,
able
how
to
funny.
do.
Yeah.
To do.
That is just
As his onlyest friend.
The only friend.
that's the best. And so here now you played with Freddie, yeah?
Play with Freddie. We did a tour with Dizzy in Europe. Freddie, Dizzy's quartet, and an amazing pianist from Catalonia, Spain, Tete Montoliu.
Oh, sure.
So we did a European tour, and also I played with him on a tribute that was presented to Dizzy on his 70th anniversary. It was a huge concert at Wolf Trap in Maryland, and we played there as well. And I played also one gig with Freddie at the Village Gate in New York. So played quite a few times with him. Very, very nice guy, and in my opinion, the greatest. One of the greatest.
He was
Freddie
amazing.
And
Freddie was something. It was so great to play with him because Freddie was the type of horn player that he played with the drummer. You know, you can hear that conversation because some people play great, but they just get into their zone.
right.
But Freddie was it was different. He was
Right.
different playing Freddie Hall.
Well, and speaking of one of the greatest, this is one of my favorite singers, Carmen McRae. And I've, she's another one that you've heard crazy stories about, but man, she could sing a song. She
He
could
was
sing.
well, with all due respect to Ella, Sarah Vaughan, all the great singers in the world. She was, and she still is, my favorite.
I feel the same way, honestly. There's something
Carmen
about
McRae,
yeah.
Carmen McRae, you know, that was incredible. Her feel, I learned a lot of English
Curse
listening to
words?
Carmen McRae.
Curse words?
It doesn't show, but I learned a lot from Carmen. She was
Yeah.
amazing, and yeah, the story she has those looks when you weren't caught in it. You can get that look from Carmen. Was like, but she was a good friend. We had a great thing. She was. We used to call each other. So in the personal level,
Yeah.
and I
Oh.
really regret that I never. Actually, at some point, I was like this of going to her trio. It would have been a tough decision, but then I decided to stay with Dizzy.
Yeah.
Carmen and I were
Yeah, I
Good
just
friend.
I love the way she sings, man. She's one of my favorites for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I know I'm skipping all sorts of things, but we, like I said, we met in the early '90s, and we were teaching at FIU for a
Wow.
while, and in 1993, just a few months after Dizzy passed, we ended up going to Venezuela to do a tribute to Dizzy Gillespie, and it was such an amazing thing for me to. Of course, I got to play with you, and the band was really not all that bad. It was Ignacio, Danilo Perez, from left to right is Danilo. There's Ignacio, some bass player that they apparently everyone else was working.
They couldn't get anybody
Right.
else.
Claudio Roditi
Wow.
is to my right, if you're looking at the picture, and James Moody is to his right, and then the guest was a Venezuelan guitarist named
Gonzalo Mico.
great guitarist, and we did a couple of concerts, and I mean, it couldn't have been more musical and lovely, and playing with these amazing guys. So
That was a great gig. Great
It
gig.
was- it
Actually,
was a great gig.
Nikki, you owe me that photo. Don't forget.
I will
That
get
was-
that to you.
that was
I have this and a few more.
1997,
93.
93.
93.
Wow.
And
93.
no, it's amazing. I think Dizzy had passed maybe 3 or 4 months before that, and
Wow.
I'm not sure how that came about. But I mean, you probably had something to do with it since you had been playing with him, and like I said, so we were
actually-
together at the time. So
Yeah,
I ended up
it
getting the gig.
was a promoter from Venezuela that wanted to do that, and he asked me to put a band together to play to do the tribute to Dizzy. So I just called the musicians, got in touch with Moody, his manager, and the other guys. I just called them myself, and we went to Caracas and did the concert.
Yeah. No, it's that was a great thing. So thank you for that. And so now
Thank
that
you.
we're in the '90s, I've also talked to you about this. So we're teaching at FIU, and saxophonist Gary Campbell had been putting together music for a CD, which we ended up recording the entire CD, and I think that was '95.
Wow.
And it was you, me, my brother, and Gary. I think Rafael Solano played on some cuts, and I chose a song because regarding Gary, it's probably the best soprano sax solo I've ever heard. It's my favorite. Let's put it that
Wow.
way. And also, this goes back to what we were talking about you before, being a guy that, even though the stereotype is whatever it is, that you like all different styles. And I think your playing on this song is just so cool. It's a laid back kind of funk thing, subtle, and you just killed it. So I want the audience
thank
to hear that as well. And this
Okay.
was a song called Down Under, and this is from Gary Campbell's record Intersection, and you'll see a picture of the band as the song goes on. So let's do Down Under, Gary Campbell.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
It's beautiful,
Right?
man.
That's
beautiful.
That's a nice backbeat, I gotta say.
There you go. It's not Latin jazz, but yeah, I know. Mike sounds
Yeah,
beautiful
no,
on it.
but the guy's name is Ignacio Berroa. No, he has to play Latin jazz. great solo, soprano solo, and a beautiful solo. Mike
Yeah.
solo was beautiful
Yeah.
as well. Wow.
Yeah.
That,
So yeah, I remembered when we had the show, like
but Vicky,
all these
I
things
have
we've
to
done.
tell
It's
you,
like,
man,
yes, I have to put this on.
Thank you for the compliment, but I always tell this to people. When you play with good musicians and speaking about the groove, you make it so easy for drummer, at least for me. And I'm not saying this. I always say this behind your back. You are one of the greatest bass players I have ever played with. You are an amazing. And I'm gonna tell you
Wow.
something that I also tell people behind your back.
Uh-oh.
Well, in the
I like the
80s,
first
I
part.
always say
This one I'm scared of.
Man, 80s, 90s, you were supposed to be in New York. You would have been doing great. You have played with everybody in New York because you are an amazing musician, a great bass player. When I
Thank you,
play,
Ignacio.
playing with you, it's like I can't do anything. I can't get lost. Whatever. Nick is gonna be there. Nick is gonna be home. So,
Listen, Ignacio.
I felt that way playing with you, for sure.
Listen, you're making my job very hard because now after the show I'm just gonna have to
Cut me down.
I'm gonna have to find all kinds of ways to deflate his head.
Yeah. Yes.
No. Good musicians, people. I think that people who got big egos, if you check them out, well, they have a few cases, but most of them They're not that good.
Well, you know what's funny
We
is
talk about this quite a bit.
well, and what I find so interesting is how many great musicians there are everywhere. I mean, only if a handful get to the name recognition of a Dizzy Gillespie and a Chick Corea, and not taking anything away from them. But we have so many fantastic musicians. You know, I don't even think we realize how spoiled we are. You know, here in.
A lot of fantastic musicians that they didn't get the chance to be in the spotlight.
Right, and not everybody needs to be in the spotlight. I mean, that's okay too. But it is nice to know that, you know, like, you know, Nikki stands right there against you know, and Mike and Gary Campbell, like all of our musicians, you know, Martin, Bejarano, they all stand right neck and neck with everybody. You know.
That being said. Chick and Christian McBride. That's not a bad group to play with.
That is true.
Wow, that's during the sound check. That is in Osaka, a 2 week tour that we did in Japan with Chick and Christian McBride on bass. That was a beautiful tour.
Wow.
Beautiful tour. Yeah. Ho ho ho. That is the dressing room at the Blue Note, Tokyo. James Moody and Jackie McLean.
Wow.
We were playing with a band called the Dizzy Gillespie Alumni, with John Faris, Lai Hampton on trombone, Mark Gru Miller on the piano, John Lee on bass, Moody, Jackie, and myself.
Fantastic.
That tour was great, and I remember Jackie back then he used to smoke. And Moody, he was against smoking, and I remember on that tour how much I enjoyed every time Jackie needed to go outside to smoke a cigarette, and he would ask Moody for permission. Hey, Moody, can I go outside to smoke a cigarette?
Nice. Oh, the stories.
Oh,
I'm telling you, this profession may be difficult, but it provides you with some of the great moments in life, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to tell you, Moody was, if I could put in my 2 cents, I'm sure everyone who knew him knows this. First of all, super funny, nice guy. And what I admired about him, that guy never stopped learning to the day he died.
No, never, ever. He always said that. And I saw him many times, Nikki. We used to go to schools and places, and there were another guy playing the tenor, doing something, and Moody would go and tell him, how do you do that?
Absolutely.
Show me that.
That humility is amazing.
Well, and the curiosity of wanting to keep learning and the hunger and desire to keep moving.
Yeah,
it's a great
he always
thing.
said that. He said that to me. Ignacio, when you think you got it, you have to open another door, and then you go into that place, and you think, okay, I got it, and then you see another door. So he was always practicing, learning. He was a great motivation. Moody was a great inspiration.
For sure. And you toured with Gonzalo for a little while, and you recorded with him as well?
Well, yeah, that was at the beginning.
Although, was Ron gigging with you guys on this picture?
Yes, that was a gig we did as a trio in New York, somewhere a Grammy party or something like that. I remember we also played a concert at the Carnegie Hall as part of the Cool Jazz Festival or something like that. Yeah, we did like 2 gigs. Yeah, awesome. Ron Carter or Gonzalo. Well, I played with Gonzalo like for 10 years.
Yeah.
Actually, I was ready. I already had 2 suitcases in New York because I was moving back to New York. And then Gonzalo's gig came along, and I said, well, if I'm going to be traveling with Gonzalo, it makes no sense for me to move into New York. So, but that was in 1997, I think, when we started playing, or 96. Recorded a few albums with Gonzalo, like 3 albums, I think.
Nice. Let's hear this version of Caravan with Urokawa.
Oh, okay.
Check this out.
Listening to your drum solo too. That's the
Well, too long, and hurry with drum solo. Oh,
that's how we know you're
oh,
good because you're never happy.
yeah. No, remember that was a tour in Brazil. We were doing a tour with Ivan Lins
Wow.
and Joao Bosco. To 2000. Yeah, actually, that was the
I
last
love
time
both of them
I
so
was in
much.
Brazil. 20 years ago. Uh,
Yeah.
great musicians, great musicians. Very, very, very nice
Yeah.
people. That's why they are so great. That tour was amazing. I think we stayed in Brazil like for a week or 10 days, touring with those guys and the band members of both bands, on the three bands. Because it was Gonzalo Trio, Joao Bosco's band, and Ivan Lin. We had a great time. And then at the end of the concert, of course, we play Aguas de
Yeah.
Marzo,
Of course.
and a lot of things, standards, Brazilian standards, and at the end we all play together.
It is so fun to go see Brazilian shows because everybody in the audience sings every song.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. The energy there, it's amazing.
Yeah, that country is amazing. A lot of beautiful, great music from Brazil.
Oh yeah.
So Ignacio, what makes one go in the solo direction? How does that happen for you?
Well, I didn't want to. I'm going to be honest to you. There are 3 people or 4 people I have to credit pushing me to go solo. the first one was Dizzy. Dizzy, many years ago before he passed, he always asked me, Ignacio, when are you going to do your album? You should do your album. And as you know, I can be the guest artist, and it's not going to cost you a penny. But musically speaking, I think I was not ready to do something that I will feel proud of, something that you're gonna live there forever. So I didn't do my album while Dizzy was alive. Then Gonzalo, a friend of mine, Juan Carlos Quesada, my ex-wife Flor Rodriguez, they were the three ones that finally made me to go solo and do an album. By the time I did my first album, Codes, I thought I was ready, because being Ignacio Berroa, I didn't want to do an album where some people would say, it is okay for a Latin guy playing swing. So I wanted to be ready, knowing the vocabulary and everything. So 2006 was the time that I thought, okay, now I can go to the studio and do something that I will feel proud of.
And that was nominated for a Grammy, yeah?
Yeah, my album was, that's something that you reflect on that later. I'm a drummer. Nikki, you are a bass player, and you know that we are not seen as the front line. So record companies, they don't care much about recording a bassist or a drummer.
Right.
Bruce Lombard gave me the chance. Actually, I never thought that Blue Note would pick the album. I was shopping around. Bruce Lombard told me I wanna listen to it, and he picked it up. So my first album, and it got nominated that year, 2007, for a Grammy on the Latin jazz category. I lost to Brian Lynch and Eddie Palmieri.
Bastards.
I was nominated, and I'm very proud of that album. So I did Codes in 2006. Then I took a period of time before doing Heritage and Passion, an album that not too many people knows about it, because the company that I did it for, they didn't believe on promoting albums on Downbeat magazine, so forth and so on. So
right.
That album, not too many people knows about that. My latest, Straight Ahead from Havana, I did it 3 years ago with Martin Bejarano and Josh Allen, and it is an album. The reason why it's called Straight Ahead from Havana, a lot of people may think, and actually those who may want to check it out, it is you have to go and check on the Ignacio Berroa trio. It's not just Ignacio Berroa. A lot of people think when they see Havana that it might be a salsa album or something like that. But,
it's not? I'm not getting it.
Straight Ahead, that's the way, we call, in New York, when I was in New York, we used to say, let's go and play some Straight Ahead. So Straight Ahead jazz.
Yeah.
So I did on that album, I took 10 songs for what is called the golden era of Cuban music. And I picked 10 tunes that used to be, or they are, were conceived as boleros, ballads, and I gave them the jazz treatment.
Oh, cool.
Martin Bejarano did a great job with the arrangements and harmonization, and I'm also very proud. So I call it Straight Ahead from Havana because there are tunes, most of them, because there are 2 or 3 tunes that are played as what we know as Latin jazz, that I call Afro-Cuban jazz. And that's it. But most of the tunes are straight ahead.
Let's listen to Deja que siga solo.
Deja que siga solo. Great bolero composed by the great Marta Valdez.
Nice. So good.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
That's really nice stuff.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And so you don't get pigeonholed. We know that last year we recorded with this guy.
With George Garcia.
Jorge
And
Garcia. Wow.
Yeah, talk about nice guys and talented musicians.
Yeah, man.
So he did this project of reimagining classic rock songs, and he had you play on Led Zeppelin's. Yes, Ignacio Berroa plays Led Zeppelin.
That's right.
And I have a little clip from Black Dog. I just love the fact that you play everything and you play it well.
Yeah. I'm not happy with my playing there, but anyway.
Let the audience be the judge of that.
We can't trust your judgment
No.
anymore.
Come on, that's killing.
Woo!
That's right. Don't you tell me that didn't sound good. That sounded great. That was so much fun.
I can't do better, but well, anyway.
Oh, well, is there anything that you've ever heard that you haven't said that
I
afterwards?
could do better. Yeah.
No, I always think that I can do better, and I'm never happy with my playing. So.
And that's what you want to pass on to the kids. Look how I did that segue.
Oh, that was smooth.
Yeah,
That was
Smooth.
very
Yeah.
smooth.
I was doing a jazz camp with my friend Benny Wallace, tenor player in the back. That was somewhere in Connecticut that he does. I think I can't remember now the town. Can't remember the town. Somewhere in Connecticut where Benny Wallace do that jazz camp for deprived kids. When I used to live in New York, I used to go and help him out every year doing the jazz camp because that's something that I love. I love to teach, and I think it is our duty to pass our knowledge to the young generation. You know.
Yeah, and I know if you go on YouTube and you Google Ignacio Berroa, a lot of instructional stuff comes up, and which is a lot of fun to watch, actually. You know. But
wow, yeah, that's
Yeah.
an instructional video that I did in 1995 when a lot of the kids nowadays they don't know what a VHS was. But yeah, it is a video on Afro-Cuban music, and I can say very humbly that it is up to date because if you want to incursionate in the world of Afro-Cuban music, that video will help you out tremendously. So people can buy a used one on Amazon for $6. Then you transfer it to a DVD, and it is a great teaching tool for those who want to navigate in the Afro-Cuban music world. And the other books are books also that teach how to mix, if you want to call it, Afro-Cuban beat with straight ahead jazz. My last book, A New Way of Grooving, you can see like on the one page, 6 exercises with the Afro-Cuban clave on your leading hand, and then you play the same 6 exercises on the following page, playing the straight ahead pulse on your leading hand. So that helps you to combine something that I see very cohesive or very attached, which is Afro-Cuban clave, rumba music with the straight ahead jazz. So it has the triple feel that the Africans brought to this part of the world. So I see both style of music, rhythmically speaking, from the drumming point of view, I see them very attached.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So for those drummers who may want to incursionate or put some spice into the drumming,
bam.
Yeah, that's something to take a look and play around.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I thought we'd end this with the video of Drume Negrita, and then maybe come back. Is that cool?
Hey,
I want you to say, did you hate your playing there too?
No, yeah. It is so. Well, this is the Drume Negrita version. Yeah, that was live at the studio when we were.
Yeah, the Big Fur thing. Okay, so we'll go on then and come back and wrap this up.
Ooh.
Yeah, Ignacio.
That is so fun. You know, I've enjoyed so much talking to you and hearing your stories and learning about, how you came out of the womb with the drumsticks, even though you denied it.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
same
No,
here. It's been a great pleasure talking to you and your show and to the audience. And I really hope that when this craziness goes away, that we get a chance to play some more music, and bring some more happiness to people and joy. That's our job. Bring joy and happiness to people.
Yeah.
And share our knowledge, because I think that when we play those who the kids and the ones who are aspiring musicians, they get inspired and they learn something from us.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
that's our duty.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, man. It's been fun catching up, and I'm looking forward to definitely playing with you soon, hopefully.
And
hopefully not your timeline. I didn't like that 2022 thing or whatever. Yeah. Sometime next year we're going to do it.
yeah. And you stay safe, and
You too, guys, and everybody, all the people who have been listening to the show and that they will be listening to the future shows. Stay safe. Love you, and let's stay together. We get out of this.
yes, for
Great.
sure. We're going to keep jazz alive for kicking and screaming if we have to.
All right. Good night, Ignacio.
Have a good
Good
night.
night, everybody.
So there you have it. Monday night has once again flew by. I always say to Nikki before we start the show, this show is not going to go over an hour and 15 minutes. It can't do it. You're not going to let it happen. And now it's almost 2 hours again. I blame him. I think somehow it's his fault. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Hey, when you get people of this caliber that we've been presenting,
It is true.
apparently it's our 30th show. I heard from the powers that be.
And well, you know what the crazy thing is that we really only scratched the surface. We had even more pictures and even more videos and even more songs to play, and it's just you can't get it all done. So we might have to just do another one in a couple months or something. We'll bring him back
I think so.
and finish up. So we want to let you know what's coming up next week. Listen, we spent the day yesterday with Joe Donato at his house wearing masks. And he took us through his garden. He did a cooking demonstration. He played some music, some new lyrics that he's written. He's our guest for next Monday, and it's going to be so much fun. He's just the world's most beautiful human being. I'm convinced of it. He's a poet. Every word he speaks, he's like a poet.
Yeah. For sure.
I don't know how to describe it. So next Monday, Joe Donato. The following Monday is going to be a lot of fun too. Brenda Alford is going to take us through the songstress of Baltimore, her hometown, Ethel Ennis. Fantastic singer that not a lot of people know about. So she's going to have Charles Covington on and Cyrus Chestnut, and we're going to all learn about Ethel Ennis. Hopefully she's going to sing a little bit for us also as well, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And we've got some great shows lined up for you, so we hope you continue to mark your calendar and join us every Monday night and learn a little bit, hear music, and feed your soul, hopefully.
Good night.
Have a great one.